Hello, every single person on the entire galaxy. What's up?
Hey,
We're here with another fanfic. In this case, is Our Chaotic Melancholy. And this time it was chosen by my friend over here for no apparent reason at all.
yes, we found this fic, and we're not entirely sure what it's about. I don't remember, but I think it's something to do with like a misplaced child of Discord or something along those
No, it
lines.
was a misplaced Draconicus.
Okay,
Is that how you pronounce it?
whatever it may be. Yes, that is how you pronounce it. Whatever it may be, the story will tell us.
In any case, let's start. Chapter 1 Options. Near the Ponyville schoolhouse, Shelley was currently leading her class back inside from a short trip to her garden. Wow, I told you. She wore a smile on her face as she happily opened the door of for her students, as they all muttered and continued to talk among themselves. Shirley chuckled softly before stating, "All right, oh, your turn. Sorry."
All right, every pony, make sure to take your seats. Break's over. We need to continue our lesson on Manhattan history.
Rommel groaned as he rolled his eyes, entering the schoolhouse as did majority of the other students. Squirrel and Applebloom giggled somewhat before Squirrel raised a brow at Miss Shirley.
Why do we need to learn about Manhattan anyway, Miss Cherry? It's not like we live there or anything.
Shirley smirked at Squirrel before shaking her head.
You never know, Scootaloo. It's best to educate yourself as much as you can. There's no telling when you'll need information.
That is true. Squirrel simply rolled her eyes with a smug smile as she proceeded to trot into the schoolhouse, a blue flow close behind. Chilly took a moment to glance around her surroundings, ensuring no ponies were left behind. She smiled softly to herself at the sight of the dirty empty road, and the beautiful Ponyville scenery surrounding her. She took a moment to admire it all as she looked at certain areas one by one. First she peered over at the Ponyville's houses in the distance, listening closely to the birds chirp overhead, and the ambient voices echoed through the small town as she peered at the small area of trees and bushes surrounding them. There was also a small be- what the hell's a beady head?
Small beady head.
What does that even what does that mean?
Beady is like beady in this case can mean a lot of things. Like some people would say beady little eyes, and that's like rats or mice, things like that, where their eye seems like it's a solid glass bead because
Mm-hmm.
their eyes are so dark in color that you can't really tell it's anything but black. So
Hmm.
like sharks have beady eyes because they look like that. So I'm not really sure why they chose the term beady head of a Draconicus. I'm really not sure.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Anyway, continuing. The
perhaps it
beady head,
means small and seemingly artificial.
right?
In,
The
in
beady
some
head of a
action.
Draconicus, sticking out from the bushes, staring right at Chili. The mare simply smiled at it. Then she looked at the rolling eyes to the left, to the eyes. Then the eyes snapped wide. Chili immediately looked back to the bushes, but found there was nothing there. She raised a brow, slightly puzzled, as she wondered if he was just seeing things.
Miss Cherry, are you coming?
Called out, called out a worried twist with her familiar lips. Demon Tiara almost immediately snapped at the little filly.
You dolt! You just costed us more free time.
Oh, classical Diamond Tiara. Chili was still a little focused on the bushes outside of the schoolhouse as she peered at them with a somewhat worried glance. She still looked puzzled and confused and slightly disoriented, but she shook her head, shook it up.
Disoriented?
Disoriented? Yes, sorry.
No, just distressed.
Well, sorry.
That's okay.
Then she shook it. Then she shook it up and called back to the other students.
Sorry about that, class. Now, anyway, let's get started.
The class of Philip moaned and whined to these words as Chili simply proceeded to the board and left to the schoolhouse. The left and left the schoolhouse door open as well. From
Don't
out,
worry, you'll get the hang of it.
yeah, hopefully. From outside the schoolhouse, back at the bushes near the trees, a small Draconicus then poked his head once again. Its eyes were wide with curiosity and its focus on this particular building. Its candy apple red
Irises.
irises centered on the structure. It then looked past at the open door and watched Chili as she talked, cocking its head to the left as she did so, as if curious about the mare. Its expression started to glow more inf infatuated as it
Infatuated.
continued to look at Chili, biting its lower lip as its eyes widened further. She looked upon their class in delight as she ran her hoof over to the diagram plastered across the board. The diagram seemed to be an actual layout of Manhattan, with some certain areas encircled by a red link. She smiled as she stopped her hoof to the right far corner of the diagram.
So, can anybody tell me the history behind this area?
There was only silence, like every single time a professor asked something in a class. Accompanied by the sound of hush cuts and a groan here and there. Yep, that's exactly like it.
That's totally it. Elementary all the way through college.
And some crickets. Well, that would be cool, but that almost never happens.
Yeah, can't forget the silence without crickets. I like that one.
Yep, that's one. Chilly's expression shrunk as she sighed heavily.
Class, you all need to pay more attention. We're going to be having a test regarding all we've learned about Manhattan history by the end of this month. I know it doesn't seem interesting now, but just try to bear with it, okay?
She asked pleadingly, as the class simply stared back at her with bored expressions. Demon, Tiara, and Silverfoot then began to whisper to each other as the whole class soon started to follow suit, ignoring their teacher and still too high from the seat to show corner. They will probably get high because of Pinky will give them like 50 bags of candy to each one.
It's too much sugar!
Shirley should have just yelled at them and told me to be quiet, but she didn't. She actually just proceeded to her desk and sat down with a solemn expression. She crossed her forehoofs atop of the desk and then moaning complaint, shaking her head, as she looked upon her class and puckered her lips somewhat.
That's the last time I attempt to use sugar cubed corner as a motivational reward.
That's great. She then did a faceplant at her desk, and a sack of paper caused him to fly all over the place. She didn't care.
I almost feel like I read that sentence wrong.
What?
Just her. That's the last time I attempt to use sugar cubed corner as a motivational reward.
As the class continued to talk with each other with total disregard for the lesson. Yep, that's all high school, alright.
Yep.
Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle, and Applemoon were actually discussing what they were doing to hopefully achieve the cutie marks after school day. Scootaloo seemed confident as usual, placing a hoop on her desk and smirking at her two friends cockily.
I say we go back to sugar cube corner. I had the strongest feeling that if I ate just a few more cupcakes, my cutie mark would appear.
Because that makes sense.
Yes, totally.
Applemoon similarly looked puzzled as she peered at Scootaloo.
Cupcakes? Nah, it's just silly. Let's try swimming. That's something I don't think we've done yet.
Yes, you have. Sweetie then looked to both Applebloom and Scootaloo with a pondering expression. Scootaloo and Applebloom then erupted into argument about what the best path to take towards their cutie marks would be. Scootaloo was entirely convinced hers had something to do with gorging on cupcakes, and Applebloom was convinced that swimming was the most viable option. Sweetie Belle then sighed heavily as she leaned her head atop of her hoof and peered towards the front of the class. But what she saw caused her let wow, I can't even read this. What she saw caused her to let off a piercing cry as she pointed to the creature shrieking in fear.
Miss Charlie!
The rest of the class then stopped talking, wondering what had Sweetie Belle sobered cup as they too looked out towards the front of the class. They all began to scream in panic. They all began to scream in panic as they scurried to the back of the classroom, tripping and stumbling along the way. Charlie, of course, raised her head almost immediately after Sweetie Belle's scream. She couldn't help but feel clueless as she saw her class. As she looked at her class, scurry. How do you pronounce that?
Scurry?
Yes. Scurry? Like that?
Wait, I'm sorry. For some reason I had a brain fart. What were you on?
Scurry.
Yeah, scurry.
Okay.
That's how you say it.
Scurry towards the back of her class in dismay. It actually took her a bit to process any thoughts in her head. She then followed their glances, looking towards the side of the desk and downward. There, sitting on the far side of her desk on the floor and simply looking up at her was a wide-eyed baby Draconicus. Shirley looked at it with a dumbfounded expression, not entirely sure she was seeing things again.
Eh?
Was all that she could muster up. The baby Draconicus then bounced on its feet, levitating in the air as he got close to Chili's face.
Hiya!
Chili screamed as she stumbled backwards out of her chair and into the floor. The rest of the class erupted into a volley of screams as they panicked and ran for the door. I'm assuming this is after Discord.
Yeah.
The baby Draconicus could only giggle as she raised her claw to the pile and yelled out.
More sweets?
Suddenly, within the classroom, chocolate rain began to pour seemingly out of nowhere.
Because of course.
Right. Chili cringed at the sight, but was happy to see that the class didn't need her to show instruction in order to make their own way to safety. They had just panicked, running straight for the open door. That's not the proper way to safety. But running.
What do you mean? If there's a problem in the building, you leave the building. That's pretty straightforward.
Yes, but the way to leave should be organized, not in constant panic.
That's true. Depends on how wide the door is.
That's a good point. Running straight for the open door and almost like it's into Ponyville right after that. But Chili underneath the Draconicus place was saddened, and as it looked like the now empty classroom, it lowered his arm as he simply remained solemnly in the air with that deep expression of melancholy. It happened again. She raised her brow as coolly as she observed it. It was truly a mesmerizing creature, but her heart echoed as she saw its expression, shoot at these depths of everlasting darkness. She then began to approach the Draconicus.
Darkness. Whoa.
Wow,
I
said sadness. Wow. I have Kingdom Hearts on my head. She then approached you won't get it since you haven't played it. Began to approach the Draconicus casually. Before speaking up in a reassuring tone.
Hey now, it's alright.
Scootaloo, Sweetieville, and Apple trotted hurriedly towards the center of Ponyville with the other students. Obviously, most ponies took notice of the panicking fillies and colts. Applejack in particular rushed over to them as she saw them trotting down the beaten dirt road.
Hey, wait a second, y'all.
Applebloom stopped as she turned and then rushed over to her sister.
Applejack, you have to hurry.
Applejack raised a brow at her little sister.
What is it? What's wrong?
Scootaloo was catching her breath, but she spoke anyway.
It's Miss Cherry Lee. She's in danger. A Draconicus invaded the classroom.
Applejack seemed simply confused.
A what now?
Applebloom protested.
A Draconicus. It's a weird monster thingy with a bunch of different body parts.
How can they know and Applejack don't know? I mean, she fought one for crying out loud.
Okay, so hang on. They were there at the Canterlot Gardens when Cherry Lee explained what a Draconicus was. Applejack and the rest of the gang weren't there for that, so it's understandable they don't get the term right away.
Right, I guess.
All they know is that Discord causes problems.
Abigail blinked a bit before she sinked heavily, then nodded to her little sister.
Alright, I'll go check this out with Dwight and the others. Y'all get on over to the farm, you hear?
She then raised a hoof in the direction to Sweet Apple Acres. Applebloom and Scootaloo nodded as they caught up with Sweetiebelle and immediately headed to the direction of the farm. Applejack was a little skeptical about the story of this Draconicus, but he realized it must have been something serious to have panicked the little fillies and colts to this degree. She then made her way to the library. It'd be best to enlist the aid of Twilight and the others before heading to the schoolhouse, but she had to hurry. Everything wasted was another second that Chili was supposedly in danger. Moments later, what?
Huh?
Did you want to say something?
I didn't say anything.
Sorry.
No, I didn't say that.
Moments later, the main six wielding the elements of harmony, as well as accompanied by Discord. Wait, so this is after the. Oh, wow. That's weird.
Well, it makes sense that they would get him involved.
Yes, but it's weird that they just. Never mind. Let's keep going. I won't make any.
Well, Twilight can teleport like crazy, so.
Yes, I guess that's a good point. Rush over to the schoolhouse with serious expression. Twilight was the first one to speak.
Okay, there we go. Miss Cherry Lee, we've arrived. Are you all right?
Twilight sighed, waiting as her brow raised what she was seeing. She seemed a little surprised and confused at the same time. Discord simply crossed his arm and he shook his head. Chili was absolutely fine, although the costume was a disaster. She was sitting at her desk with a cheerful smile. She had the baby Draconicus sitting on the desk in front of her as they both shared a milkshake. As Chili was attempting to get to know the creature.
Is that so? Mm-hmm.
The baby Draconicus
Oh, wait, that's Cherry Lee talking, sorry. Is that so? Hmm?
the baby Draconicus nodded and giggled.
Mm-hmm. And it even had 3 heads.
What the hell are they talking about?
Who knows?
Chili soon perked up at the main six as well as Discord with a surprised look, then smiled as she chuckled somewhat.
Why, hello there. I'm sorry, did my students make you worry?
Swallowed mustard with an irritating tone.
Well, yeah.
Fluttershy then flushed over to Chili and the baby Draconicus with an infatuated expression before running her hoof down the Draconicus' mane affectionately with a squeal. She spoke in a barely audible tone.
Oh my goodness. Why aren't you just the sweetest little thing? Look, Discord, it's a baby you. Except a girl?
Rainbow scratched the back of her own mane before shrugging a little.
Wait a second. So there are more than one Discord?
Oh God! You know I will panic as well if that was canon.
Well,
Yeah,
chaos.
we already discussed that one.
Couldn't be too surprised.
Discord gasped with an offended expression.
Of course. Although our numbers have dwindled over the countless millennia, we're still around.
He went to rub his chin.
But to find another here is truly quite fascinating. I honestly believed I was the last one in these parts of Equestria, but nonetheless.
Discord then snapped his claw as a cage. Wait, what? As a cage around the baby Draconicus. Discord then levitated the cages over to himself with a moderate expression.
We must get rid of it.
The baby Draconicus shrieked in fear as it attempted to puff out of the cage and escape to no avail. Julie was also looking somewhat overwhelmed with fear at the moment as she hurried over to Discord.
Well, wait, get rid of it? Why must we do that? It's only a baby.
Fluttershy scolded angrily at Discord before placing her hooves on her hips, demanding,
Discord, put down that cage and let the little Draconicus go this instant.
"What the hell is going on?"
Something very confusing.
Discord, wow. Twilight then got into the conversation with a heavy sigh.
No, Discord's right. We can't keep it here. I'm sorry, Cherry. We have to at least take it back to the outskirts and release it there.
Wait, it's not a dog. It's not like it's a dog.
Just please don't send me back out there.
The baby Draconicus played with the ponies. The main six then eyed as their expression worse as they wow. The main six then eyed it as their expression worse dramatically. Rarity looked to Twilight with a puzzled expression.
Come now, darling. I know nothing about these Draconicus creatures, but must we truly be so cruel? Look at the poor thing. It's scared senseless.
Twilight said heavily as she seemed to be a little reluctant to explain. Applejack couldn't help but feel compelled to ask as well.
Yeah, I mean, shucks, y'all. This is like sending a little filly out on its own, ain't it?
This could burst into laughter. Every bunny besides Twilight ate menacingly as they wondered what exactly was so funny. Rainbow got to his face with another look.
What the heck is your problem, Discord?
Discord then winced at Rainbow with a serious expression before raising the cage in front of the Rainbow main mare.
A Draconicus is not a pet. They'll have to fend for themselves in their adolescence for a reason. You see, some of us are abandoned by our parents at a young age in order to develop that sense of individuality that Draconicus possess when they reach adulthood. It's not uncommon, you silly little ponies. It's how it's always worked. They live or they die.
Well,
but
that's
they
dark.
absolutely cannot grow up alongside family figures. To do so would produce nothing but, well, chaos. Not saying that's entirely a bad thing, but for you all, it could be quite catastrophic, if I must say so myself.
Wait, hold on. So they let themselves die not to make the world a complete chaos? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, come now. It's an animal. Well, not an animal.
I mean,
it's a fake thing. They can do whatever they want. Just go with it, okay?
But how am I supposed
Just keep reading.
Okay, fine. Pinkie Pie was currently licking... Wait, oh, right, the chocolate. Pinkie Pie was currently licking the floor of the classroom as she suddenly looked up and raised her brow at Discord.
But why?
At this point, it was Twilight who got into the conversation in order to explain to her friend as well as Chili.
Draconicus have been shown to harbor very peculiar traits when raised according to past history. Traits that can rapidly spiral out of control, which is why in the past, Draconicus were actually hunted and killed in order to ensure the safety of all races in Equestria. We all know Discord here is goofy and charismatic. Now imagine if he wasn't. Imagine if he was angry, filled with rage, or overall bloodthirsty.
Yeah, that will be bad.
That'd be crazy.
There was a looming silence as Pinky gulped at one point. Twilight
Did you say
nodded.
glup?
Yes, gulped.
It's gulped.
Gulped. Well, sorry. Twilight nodded.
That's okay. Exactly.
Twilight then looked at the baby Draconicus in the case with an apologetic expression.
I'm sorry, little one, but we have no choice here. You gotta go back to where you belong.
There's like, what will be the problem with letting another one? If it gets out of control, you can just use the elements again.
Well, I don't know. Just keep going.
So you're asking me not to question anything?
Itself.
The baby Draconicus shook her head as tears filled her eyes.
Please, all I want to do is not be lonely anymore. I can't go anywhere without being kicked out by somebody like you. Please, I'm not like what you say, I swear.
Fluttershy whimpered as she filled her eyes with a lowering lip quiver.
Poor thing.
She then pleaded with the main six.
Please, there must be some other way, anything but this.
Twilight sighed heavily before shaking her head at Shirley.
I'm sorry, Shirley. This is the only option we've got.
I don't agree, but sure. Shirley looked
Just
down.
read the darn story!
I can not question it.
Fine.
Shirley looked
Question it if you must.
Shirley looked downside as she remained silent. The main six followed Discord as he took the case as they made her way to the Everfree forest. The baby Draconicus curled up in the case as she simply quieted down. She had been through this process multiple times and had been all too familiar with what would occur next.
Wait, hang on. Multiple times she's been in a city and Discord has shown up to carry her back out.
I'm assuming they just...
I'm sorry, I'm just being a nut. Just keep reading.
Chili, although reluctant to see this take place, swing heavily as she trotted steadily behind the others. As they arrived at the edge of the Everfree forest, Discord opened the cage for the baby Draconicus as he simply slithered out and began making its way home, making its way into the Bill woods sullenly. The baby Draconicus kept his gaze into the ground as he sniffed, but soon perked up at the towering trees for a moment. She took a moment to regard the ponies and fellow Draconicus behind it, but it then continued to the shadows of the Everfree. The utterly crushed Shirley, although she was a pony, she loved younglings. Never mind.
Younglings meaning in general, just anything young.
Oh, I get it now. She loved teaching them, taking care of them, and ensuring they were safe. It was a time like this that made her often wonder why she didn't have a follow her own, probably because she couldn't find herself a certain panther she wanted to remain with the rest of her life.
I don't know, Big Mac on the last episode.
As she looked upon the little baby Draconicus venture off into the Everfree forest alone, and with nobody to take care of it, her heart ached painfully. Her eyes were widened with tears as her lower lip quivered, as she wanted nothing more than to chase after the poor creature and tell it everything would be alright. But she knew that it wasn't true. She just watched it disappear into the black forest, back into the wild. Twilight looked at Shirley with the sad expression herself.
I'm sorry, Shirley. This was the only choice we had.
Shirley's expression darkened as she simply lowered her head and made her way back to Ponyville. The rest of the main six seemed heavily as they nodded to one another, each of them going back to their previous business. Discord followed Fluttershy back to her place, of course.
You know what I'm confused. Never mind. We can talk about this later.
Yeah, it's almost finished. Later that night, Shirley simply lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The rest of the day had been miserable for her. She barely knew the creature, and its appearance was most certainly abrupt and random. But still, she couldn't bring herself to accept the fact that she should let it go on its own, even with all the dangers out in the open world. She couldn't bring herself to believe that everything would be alright, even though they were basically telling it that it means to be alone many years to come. Shirley couldn't accept any of it. She tossed and turned in her bed until she finally managed to close her eyes. Of course, things wouldn't end so simply, though. For looming outside her window was a familiar figure in the night. David Draconicus remained there, floating in the night sky as it peeked through Shirley's window. looking for the companionship of the mare that was willing to give her, even though because of her own safety.
Hmm. Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm curious to see how the rest of this story goes.
Yep.
What I was going to ask before is it said in the Discord followed Fluttershy back to her place, of course. What I'm curious now is what is the canon perspective as to whether or not, because we see every opening, of the show, Discord is in Fluttershy's house. My
Yes.
question is does he actually live there and we just see surprisingly
I
little of him, or does he live in Canterlot and he just travels there from time to time?
think the
I'm just
I think
curious
the
what the
weirdest part is
official stance is.
I think I don't think he actually lives there, because remember that in the Trees a Crowd, they mentioned that Fluttershy sends him letters.
That's true. Well, why would you send somebody a letter if you live in the same house? That makes sense.
So yeah, he doesn't. He probably lives like
They send letters to Discord, but not to Celestia
yes.
anymore.
I-
Not even to say hello. Think
Poor.
about it. When was the last time you saw Spike burp a letter?
Yes, that's true. That's
It's probably going to be, I bet you, the next time they show it in the show, he's going to, hurt from it because he hasn't done it for, it's going to be, "Brr, oh, goodness, my throat,"
It
or
has been a
something like
while.
that because he hasn't
Anyway,
done it in
we're getting
forever.
sidetracked. What do you think of the fanfic?
I already said I think it's very good, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the next chapter.
Well, I already said that I think it's good, but I just don't see how there wasn't any other option. There was a plenty of option that I can think of.
Well, you got to think of it this way. So Twilight's clearly done her research, and Discord, is a Draconicus, so he understands it to some degree. So as far as they're concerned, what their understanding is that Draconicus normally will develop into very dangerous creatures, and that's why there's so few of them, because
you mean that?
they've been hemmed in.
Oh, I get it.
That's why it was talking about most Draconicus are large, angry, creatures. On the other hand, what I'm seeing is something that maybe, I don't know if this is, covered in this fic, is with that explanation, the way they treat the Draconicus by normally kicking him out and everything like that, the reason they're so angry and malicious and things like that may be a side effect of the fact that, yeah, they're chaotic, and so as a result, people don't want them around their town originally. And so as a result, they would kick him out of the town over and over and over again. With this increased feeling of rejection, the Draconicus would eventually develop a psychological form of vengeance that they need to get back at the ponies, and that makes them become violent. Thus, that stereotype becomes perpetuated, and thus increases the problem that has been caused.
That will be pretty clever if they go that way. On the other hand, they could go the dragons in the show way, that they are normal as kids, but as they get more older, then their nature comes out.
A different nature develops, you mean?
Yeah, like how in the show all dragons are assholes.
I don't think it's necessarily that all dragons are jerks in that sense. I think it's just they get older, and because it takes so long for dragons to actually grow, they eventually reach a point where, how there are some old men when they hit their 90s or they're 100 years old, they get kind of crotchety and grumpy at everything. They just,
yes.
Dragons are that, but older.
But what about?
So reasonably so, they're grumpy.
Right, but
they're big, they're old, and all they want to do is nap. Think about it. It's really, they want their things that mean something to them. No, look, think about it. They want it's like how old people always have their knickknacks and things that they want to keep that mean something to them. Dragons have their hoards, which means something to them, and all they want to do is nap. All they want to do is have their things and sleep. And you think about old people, they want to keep the things that mean something to them
and sleep.
I guess. That's not everything. That's not the entire day of an old person.
We still have that. In terms of the nature, because we see the all of the teen dragons are quote unquote evil, but we see that it's part of.
But you also have to take into account. Look at regular teenagers.
Yes.
There's if you look at a high school or anything, there's always one
there's also
group
the fact that we never see an adult dragon there just telling them to stop.
See, what I would say happened is in that episode where Spike goes with the migration or whatever, and he meets the teenage dragons, I'd probably say he just had to meet the group that naturally jerks. They've congregated together, that's what they are. And the majority of dragons may be grumpy, but more, easier to get along with than this
Well,
group.
before,
Spike just
yeah,
happened to get bad
I
luck,
think I know
and
what.
also it made for a good story
Yes,
item.
I know where you're going, and but there's also the fact that maybe it's because of their powers then that they go out of control, but because of their
Well,
powers
you think about
itself.
it, dragons really don't have very many powers.
No, I mean
They're
in
big.
terms of the Draconicos, I mean,
Oh,
like they be like that, they are like that, they are quote unquote evil because since they have that enormous powers, they think that they just can't get touched by anything, and that's why they are assholes when they are the adults. That could be another
I
possibility.
think it's because they conflict so much with the society that surrounds them. They're vastly in the minority,
And they
and
ca-
so as a as a
and they're
result, they
wholly
feel
based,
victimized.
yeah, and they're wholly based on chaos, which is the contrary of what Equestria is based on.
That's just what their magic is, and it happens to be, opposed in a minor way towards the life of ponies. And you think about anybody in general, we like when our lives make sense. We like it when our lives have a schedule that we can follow, and, some surprises are nice, but for the most part, not really. And when things don't go our way or don't make sense, that's, unsettling to us as people.
Hmm.
And so, to the ponies who seem to have a similar mindset to a degree,
And there's
that,
also
that must be similar because a Draconicus throws a wrench in those gears, so to say. Is a Draconic, everybody likes it when they make sense.
a
A
Draconicus does not make
Draconicus
sense in
shows up
any
and they
way.
don't make sense.
Yes, the Draconicus doesn't
They're,
make
they're,
it.
ma- I mean, drinking a glass of milk or a
Yes,
milk of glass,
yes,
and all that
yeah.
jazz that explodes, and upside down buildings flying in the sky, chocolate clouds that rain,
That's just the nature. Yeah,
stuff like
that's just the
that.
nature of the beast. Like, yes,
They're just the way they are is kind of like they're kind of like a figure of an opposite
right.
where it's kind of like without chaos being there,
Hmm.
would you really be able to understand and truly appreciate the benefit of harmony?
Right.
And vice versa, would you be able to understand how crappy full chaos is
Hmm.
without first understanding what a harmonious lifestyle is like? So we've got these opposites that are always opposing, but they have to exist together because if one of them is completely gone, you suddenly lose the ability to fully appreciate the other,
Makes sense.
and it
Well,
eventually loses meaning altogether.
yep.
So Draconicus are something that kind of have to be around
Yeah. Yeah.
as kind of nature's way of keeping balance of
Right.
things, if you know what
Yes.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what we have to say about this. I mean, it was a very long talk, but I guess it makes sense since it's the first chapter. It will be very interesting seeing which way they take this because there certainly is a good variety of way to take on this subject, don't you think?
Certainly, I agree.
So it will be a very good experience to see where this is going, and we will see you next time.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in the next video. And in the meantime, have fun.
And have a good day, or night, or
Yes.
morning, or whatever time you're watching this on.
Maybe